Well, it's Tuesday, August 9th, and we all know what that means. That means we get to review NWA Powerrr. As you know, we're getting closer and closer to 74th year, which is going to be amazing. But also, we got AEW Dark. We only got about 9 matches we got to review. And of course, NXT 2.0. As you know, we're building up to NXT Heatwave. But first things first, we're going to review the latest New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax. As you know, we're getting closer and closer to the end. We're going to see who's going to advance, who is out completely. I'm very excited for that. And of course, we got some news updates. I want to review what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, let's begin with New Japan Pro Wrestling's G1 Climax Day 14th. We're going to review more on who's been, what blocks we're going to do. First block we got is the B block. We got Yujiro Takahashi versus Yoshihashi. Now, Yujiro, as you know, has been really making a big name for himself. Now, if you understand this completely, Yujiro has never been invited a lot to the G1, but last year he had to due to the fact that, of course, we had the coronavirus situation taking place, and I think that kind of fits into the well. But however, he has an impressive really record that he has, so he faces up against the Headhunter. But much like House of Torture, we know wherever he goes, someone from the House of Torture is close by, and that person is none other than the Murder Drive himself. Show. Effing show. Yes, he showed up again, this time making sure Yujiro wins, and that's what exactly happened. Ref did not see it because he was distracted, thanks to Yujiro. So it plays in pretty well, allowing for Yujiro Takahashi to pick up a win. So right now, his record has on his the scoreboard, he has 6 points in total with 3 wins and 2 losses. As for Yoshihashi, he only has 2 losses and 2 wins. So he is barely hanging on, but we'll see how that goes. Now, our next 2 matches are part of the B block. So we have our first match, Chase Owens versus Sanada. Now, keep in mind, Chase Owens has been on a roll with impressive matches in the past. Not to mention, last time he took out Tomohiro Ishii, which was an amazing match. However, he has to contend with the guy he has faced in the past. Now, keep in mind, if you remember history, Chase Owens tried to do the Paradise Lock, but unfortunately, it took him a bit of while. He pulled it off, but this time, he ended up himself in the Paradise Lock, and there's only one person who can let him free, and that is, of course, Sanada. But it took at least a while for Sanada to apply the skull in. Now, the first time, Chase Owens hanged on as much as possible until he was able to get out. But second time, Sanada was able to succeed, but Chase Owens unfortunately passed out. Referee had no other choice but to call it. So this match went straight to Sanada. And Sanada right now, he has with 3 wins and 2 losses with the total points of 6. As for Chase Owens, I believe he has only 4 losses and 2 wins with 4 points. So he's barely hanging on. So we'll see how that goes in the end. Now, our next match that is part of the B block. This one was a very interesting matchup. Taichi versus Tama Tonga. Now, these guys absolutely hate each other. Now, nothing has changed between them. If you remember correctly, Tama Tonga is no longer with Bullet Club. That does not change anything for Taichi. But however, if you guys remember last time those two confronted, Tama Tonga was possessed by the Iron Fingers. If you remember, it's this Iron Finger weapon that belonged to Ishka. Ishka retired, and apparently, of course, Taichi picked it up and he was using it himself. But of course, it was on put Tama Tonga in a spell. But Taichi brought it out because he knows how much this thing scares the hell out of Tama. When he saw it, it scared the hell out of him, knowing that this is something from his past. If you guys remember, he had to play mind games with Taichi over this. But somehow, some way, Tama fought through. He was on the verge of putting it on, but thank God for Yada, who's always had his back, told him, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And he pulled it off, and nothing held him back. But however, he was able to pick up a beautiful win against Taichi. I was so amazed with this match. And of course, he gave back the Iron Claw. And I don't think Taichi's plan to scare him with the Iron Fingers worked, but it showed a lot of character with Tama. So what does Tama get here for his wins and losses? Well, right now he has the total of 6 points with 3 wins and 1 loss. So basically, he is good for now. As for Taichi, I believe he only has 2 wins and 2 losses with 4 points. So he's barely holding on. So we'll see what else happens. Now, our next match is the A block. We have this one. As you know, this is the Monster block. We have the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer versus the Top Dog, Jonah. This is a hell of a match. The Battle of the Monsters. I mean, who wouldn't love that? Keep in mind, previously, Jonah defeated Kazuchika Okada. This was huge from the very beginning, but Lance Archer said this previously, I don't care about Okada, I want Jonah. And guess what? He got what he wanted. He wanted the Top Dog, and I think this match was unbelievable. I thought he was about to pull off the blackout, but he did not do it. It did not work. But the only thing that Archer could do was, in fact, put Jonah outside of the ring, and he won by countout. He was able to maintain Jonah outside long enough for the ref to count to 20, and it was over. So right now, Archer has, in this point, I believe he has 6 points with 3 wins and 1 loss. As for Jonah, he's in the same predicament, but the only difference is he only has 3 wins and 2 losses at this point. Now, our final match, we have Kenta versus Tetsuya Naito in the C block. I have to say this was a really, really predicament match. Keep in mind, Kenta, you know how he is. He's very technical. He actually does things differently. But Naito, as you know, he is trying to get to the prove that he has to make it all the way to the end in order to go to Wrestle Kingdom. This is his last opportunity that he got. And I think Naito had to dig in deeper and deeper until he finally pulled off Destino. So he was amazing. So he won the match by that. So right now, I believe he has a total of 6 points with 3 wins and 2 losses. Kenta, well, he most likely could be out. He only has 1 win and 3 losses. So he only has 2 points. Most likely he could be out. If I'm reading this right or hearing this right from the commentators. So I have to say it was pretty good. I love the matches they did for this one. I think my favorite ones has to be, of course, Tama Tonga and Taichi, Jonah, and Lance Archer. I think those were the best matches for me to enjoy. I don't know about you guys, but I loved it. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's move on with NWA Powerrr. Okay, NWA Powerrr opened up with a very interesting match I don't think has been done before, even in their history. A tables match. This one was set by Mike Knox, who takes on Devin Graves. Now, this particular match is a direct message to none other than Bully Ray. Now, Mike Knox felt that he is doing the world a favor of getting rid of someone who's manipulated. And not to mention, tables is a very ironic message due to the fact of Bully Ray's history with them. If you guys remember, Bully Ray is a member of the Team 3D slash Dudley Boys, that sort of thing. So that's the reason he did it. But in the entire time, he was calling Graves Bully the entire time. He's being delusional. But he was able to put Devin Graves into the table, sending a direct message. But he will confront Bully Ray at NWA 74. Now, our next series of interviews, this one was coming with Jordan at the podium by Kyle Davis, meeting with Jordan Clearwater and Black G's. Now, they made it perfectly clear that right now the only reason Zion wasn't there, that he's in training, that at NWA 74, that Zion will be challenging for the national championship. But I feel that that there was some things that were missing to make the interview more interesting. Now, if you guys remember, Jack Stain would do whatever it takes to ensure that title doesn't leave his clutches. Not to mention he has that attorney. I feel like they missed that part out, knowing that they should have said it. Like Kyle Davis should, you should know that his attorney will do whatever it takes to ensure this match never happen or whatever, you know. So I feel like they could have done something like that, but no, it didn't. I mean, it felt like it would have fit in perfectly as a storyline right there. Now, our main event, we're going to have the Pope versus Trevor Murdock. Now, May Valentine did interview Pope saying that, you know, that this is a very interesting matchup. But however, Pope feels like they're both he and Murdock are flat tires. So that's the kind of thing that he feels. But keep in mind, Trevor Murdock has changed a lot. And I think that's the thing that's been, how to say, not ignored, but being overlooked, that they can't see, okay, so Trevor Murdock has changed. So we'll get to that in a bit. Our next match we have is Wrecking Ball Legursky taking on Ricky Morton. Now, Ricky actually had a problem with Legursky for a while. As you know, Kobe Carino has problems with wrestlers like Ricky Morton, who are generational wrestlers. He believes that the Carino family are far more superior, but Legursky, who's been like an enforcer or type or hitman, caused a problem. But he suffered a loss by his own doing, when of course the safety of the turnbuckle was removed, allowing for Ricky Morton to pick up a huge win. Now Joe Alonso takes on Jordan Clearwater. Now this is where, of course, a little bit of the control came from Alonso, but later it was overturned thanks to Black G's for his interference, and of course giving Jordan Clearwater the win. Now we get another interview by May Valentine. This time it's a very interesting one, coming from none other than Angelina Love. Now, it's still unclear why she made her decision. Well, it looks like a little bit of this have finally came into light. It appears that, as you all remember, Velvet Sky was the team captain with Pope. She still has the Champion Series. Now, she hasn't cashed it in. So Angelina Love believes that if she has this, that Velvet Sky would do the right thing and have her cash it in on her. Now, Velvet Sky hasn't said exactly what she's going to do with it, but this is a very interesting development that it's been building up. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but we got to pay attention. Now, our main event is the Pope versus Trevor Murdock. Now, this match was insane because Murdock looked more like he wanted to hurt the Pope in every way possible. Because, you know, as you know, Murdock has changed. Now, he may have recovered the NWA World Heavyweight title, but what more does he want? I think he wants to hurt the people that he felt turned their backs on him or weren't there for him when he was bleeding out in his own pool of blood in the hands of the Cardonas. And I think that's what he feels with Pope. He's like saying, where were you, Pope? Huh? I thought you were my friend. So I think he's hurting those that he felt they hurt him. But the match didn't go exactly the way we hoped. It ended in a double countout. So we don't know what else is going to happen. But we do know that Murdock will be facing Nick Aldis at 74. So pay attention to that. And everything will be fine. So I believe right now let's move on with AEW Dark. Okay, AEW Dark opened up with a very interesting 8-man tag match. We have Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn teaming up with the Butcher and the Blade to take on Isaiah Broner, James Alexander, Braden Lee, and Sam Moore. Now, it's kind of weird that we have two Isaiahs involved, but you can speculate with this particular match, it will end in favor of Private Party and the Butcher and the Blade in every way possible because it was the Butcher who picked up the win. So you guys can see that right from there. Next up, we got Anna Jay along with the JS, of course, Jericho Appreciation Society to take on Megan Myers. But as expected, this match ended, of course, with the Queen Slayer, as you know. And since Anna Jay joined the Jericho Appreciation Society, she's on the verge to choke out anybody. Next match, we got the Best Friends to take on, of course, Rohit Raju and Ren Jones, but they were being accompanied by none other than Danhausen. I was not expecting that. Now, Danhausen is a lot of things, lawyer, doctor, whatever, so that's what's going on. But, however, it did ended with, of course, the Best Friend applying the Strong Zero in Ren Jones. But, however, at the post match, when the Best Friends won the match, Rohit Raju protested of what was going on, but apparently Danhausen cursed him by giving him a low blow in the nuts. So basically, that's what he gets. Now, we do get a little interesting interview with the La Facción Ingobernable, Rush and Andrade. Now, keep in mind, these guys, as you know, they are considered the original Ingorbernables back in Mexico, but they are now on a mission to destroy anybody. Well, Rush says, not you, Andrade, you're my carnal. So that kind of says, okay, but we will see what happens then. Our next match, we have the Wingmen, JD Drake and Peter Avalon taking on the very interesting duo of the Dark Order, Evil Uno and Ten. Now, keep in mind, Ten and Uno have reached the peak of the top 5. They are now considered as one of the most likely candidates that could challenge for the AEW World Tag Team titles. But this was a very interesting matchup. But however, it was, of course, 10 that applied the Discus Lariat onto Avalon, while Uno takes out Drake, giving Dark Order the win. Next up, we got Marina Shafir and Nyla Rose, along with Vicky. They decimated Jocelyn Navarro and what's her name, Heather Reckless. But however, of course, Vicky Guerrero decided to put out a promo saying that they're going to solve problems by eliminating anybody that stands in their way. And I think that's what their main objective is going to be. Now, our next match we have, of course, is Chris Statlander versus Sierra. I thought this match was pretty interesting, but I was like, wow, it was really, really fun. But as you know, Chris Statlander won this match by pinfall. Next up, we got Xavier Walker, Zach Clayton, and Sonny Kiss taking on the newly formed stable, the Trustbusters, consistent of Ari Daivari, Slim J, and Parker Boudreaux. Now, however, the match seems like it started out great with Sonny doing it, but all of a sudden, Sonny didn't do anything else afterwards. Basically, Clayton and Walker were the ones that were getting their asses handed. But however, Sonny was unimpressed by her team. But Ari Daivari decided to give her an offer that he probably would think about. So gave him a food for thought. The obvious is, will Sonny Kiss join the Trustbusters or whatever it's really going on? That kind of puts it out in a very interesting development, since we know Tony Khan was all for with the Trustbusters. Next up, we got women's trios action. We got Leva Bates, Ami Sakura, and Serena D to take on Ruby Soho, Hikaru Shida, and Athena. Now, much of this match, as you know, we do have that Ami Sakura and Hikaru Shida, student versus master. I thought it was a pretty fun match, but not to mention, as you know, there is still that bad blood between Shida and Deeb, but Ruby Soho, who has been injured recently in the hands of Tay Conti, is still looks like she is hanging on by a thread. But it was Hikaru Shida with the katana onto Bates that allowed her to pick up the win. Our main event, we got Anthony Henry along with fellow workhorseman JD Drake taking on freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. I thought the match was amazing, as you know, because the way it goes, don't count out Orange Cassidy just yet. You may be tough, Anthony Stevens, but it kind of played out pretty fun. However, um, Orange Cassidy gave JD Drake an orange plus, but Anthony Henry got the beach break. 1, 2, 3. Good night, Anthony Henry. So it was a pretty good one. I think this was a pretty good show, despite that there are certain matches that were fun, but we'll see how that goes. So I believe let's move on to our last review, which is NXT 2.0. Okay, NXT 2.0 opened up with women's action. We had Kiana James versus Nikita Lyons. Now, this particular match was set because Kiana James, who thinks that, her being smart, she can take on Nikki Lyons, but she also judged her by the way she looks, the way she acts, her past life, her personal life, all of it. So she thinks, Nikita Lyons, you're pathetic. That's why you're going to lose to me because I got the brains. That's what she thought. But Nikita Lyons, she's not ashamed who she is. She's willing to fight her. And of course, it did end it that way when Nikita Lyons did the splits on her. But of course, Kiana James will not take this loss lightly, so she viciously attacked her from behind, saying she is more smarter. But the obvious question is, Kiana James may have lost the match, but what else exactly is she trying to do? So we'll see about that in the upcoming time. Now, as you know, there's been dissension in the Diamond Mine world, where we saw the Creed brothers and Ivy now that they're not taking kindly with the behavior and erratic behavior of Roderick Strong. However, the Creed brothers are enjoying the company of Apollo Crews. Now, Crews told them, take a look at your 8-man tag match that you had against the D'Angelo family. Now, he sees something that the Creed brothers can't, but he wants them to see it for themselves, for them to understand what went wrong in that match. However, Roderick Strong does not like the fact that Apollo Crews was there, so he decided, let's set up a match. But he said that everybody in Diamond Mine will be in his corner once that match happens. Now, our next match is a rounds match between Wesley and Trick Williams. Now, this particular rivalry between Williams and Lee dates back when, of course, Lee gave this emotional promo about all his struggles, and Trick Williams had to be the one to rain his parade, telling him, nobody cares, Lee, you're old news. But to that, it's like being insultful. So he tried to take him out, but Williams used rubbing alcohol to ensure he wins. But this time, it became personal. So there were moments where we see the with gloves or without boxing gloves. However, the second round went to Williams. Fourth round goes to Lee, but whoever wins the next two rounds will be the winner. But it was, of course, Lee that walked out as the victor with the knockout, giving him the win, and Trick Williams won fair and square in this one. Now, as soon as Trick Williams left, Carmelo Hayes, as you know, he is having a bit of a trying to process what happened last week, with Nathan Frazier and all that. However, we thought that Nathan Frazier was about to get another opportunity for the North American title, but it was a set of mind games by none other than Giovanni Vinci. It looks like he is trying to get his hands on the North American title, but I think there is the more interesting dynamic that's been going on. Vinci says the only reason that, Nathan Frazier went is because he was trying to save you from me. So basically, he thinks that Carmelo Hayes is afraid of him. And Hayes thought the same thing too, but it became clear they will stop at nothing to destroy each other, especially if Vinci wants to get his hand on the North American title. Now, we do get a little bit of what happened a while back. As you know, Andre Chase's office, he's been visited by Ariana Grace, who claims that she got hit by a ball thanks to Thea Hale. But Hale explained herself, saying, yes, but we told her to duck, and So Grace wanted this to be going into a lawsuit, but of course, you're in Chase University. Andre Chase actually laid down the law, saying that things go by his jurisdiction. So he set up a match against the Hell and Ariana Grace. But however, the match was pretty good, but Grace walked out as the victor. I think this is a huge disappointing loss for Tehel. I know she has won a previous match before, but we'll see what happens then. Now, much of the entire time, Lash Legend has been talking about how she's pissed off knowing that she tries to say that I got rid of Alba Fire, all this and that. So she's like trying to get people to listen, but Malik Blade and Adrian Nilfis did not have the luxury due to the fact that they had to listen to her and talk. But because, as you know, we did see that they will be facing against Pretty Deadly in later on. Now, we do get the Roderick Strong versus Apollo Crews. Now, Diamond Mine was not at the corner of Roderick Strong. It was like, what the heck just happened? So it kind of fit into that moment, but I thought it was pretty funny. So I was like, wow. But it was Apollo Crews that walked out as the victor when he picked up a huge win. However, how did Roderick Strong felt about Diamond Mine not being by his corner? Well, the Creed brothers were with Damon Kemp, overlooking at the video. Now they were like, what are we missing? So they're not sure. But apparently Julius saw something that made him realize, what if Apollo Crews was right? So he saw something, but the moment they were about to rewatch that, Roderick Strong was upset about it, that they weren't there. So basically it was more like a little payback. You said you were gonna be there, but you weren't. So we could see the dissension, but Roderick Strong claims that Apollo is the cause of all of it. This mess started long before Apollo ever came around, but I feel like Roderick Strong is being a bit of delusional about it. Now, as you know, Ulissa Leon and Valentina Perez felt a little disappointed after they were eliminated in that match a week ago for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Now, as you know, Katana, Chance, and Kaden Carter wanted to give them another opportunity. But however, Leon felt that maybe they're not ready for it. But Sangha gave them some words of encouragement, telling them, you know who you reminded me of? Them. So he was reminding them they were close many times to win those tag titles, but they never gave up. So he's encouraged them, don't give up just yet. You will become tag team champions. But right now, let's go next week to a place that cleanse your mind and all this. So Sangha is really becoming like the opposite of Joe Gacy, giving these ladies encouragement. He sees a lot of potential in them, but they need to believe in themselves. They can actually do it. That's the best part of it. I feel like Sangha's not just being a wrestler. He's being a coach, someone who can, lift people up, give them encouragement that they need. He did the same thing to Wes Lee. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. Now, as you know, we've been seeing dissensions between both Santos Escobar and Tony D'Angelo. However, this final accord was more of the final confrontation with the stipulation that's been set by both men. Tony D'Angelo said that if he wins, Escobar is out of NXT forever. However, Santos had a much different stipulation. If he wins, Legado Fantasma is no longer in the clutches of the D'Angelo family. So basically, they have come to agreement. But however, this match ended in a street fight. So that kind of sets it all in. Now, as you know, Tiffany Stratton felt good about herself, believing that she finally got rid of Wendy Chu. But Wendy Chu has not gotten over it because, as much as this, Tiffany Stratton's has a problem when they chew with her ways, but she got even with her. Now it appears as if no matter what Tiffany's trying to do, saying that she's finally got rid of Wendy Chu. Well, Wendy Chu is like a cockroach that cannot be killed. And I think that's the biggest mistake Stratton should have known. Now our next match, we have Pretty Deadly taking on Inoue and Blade. However, the match kind of became exactly what Pretty Deadly were trying to prove. However, Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs, the current NXT UK Tag Team Champions, will not stand by and look at Pretty Deadly trying to cheat, but apparently things did not go according to plan like they would have hoped to help Malik Blade and Fernofis to win, but it did give Pretty Deadly an opportunity. But apparently in the post-match, Lash Legend decided to attack Fenley because, she thinks that people need to shut up and it's all about her. But you can guarantee that this is far from over with these two teams. Now, as you know, Grimes has been trying to pick himself up, trying to figure out what he needs to do next. However, he congratulated Solo Sikoa for his win, but Solo Sikoa said that that he'll be watching that North American Championship match, but he also tells Grimes, that he needs to pay attention too, because you may never know if he gets another opportunity. But at the moment he was leaving, Joe Gacy tries to play the mind games, trying to get him to jump aboard the bandwagon of the schism. So we'll see what happens then. Now, as you know, Apollo Crews did have an amazing win against Roderick Strong. However, Grayson Waller, who is feeling like he's the bigger star of the show, felt that, Apollo Crews needs to leave. But it's not going to happen. So he thinks that he can take him out because he says, I got rid of one person, I can do the same thing to you. And he's referring to Johnny Gargano. So that kind of explains it a little bit. Now our main event is, of course, Cora Jade versus Zoe Stark. But Mandy Rose made this match happen due to the fact that she does not want no part of Zoe Starks in any way possible. So she's saying, look, if you don't want to challenge Roxanne Perez, I can help you with that. Get rid of Zoe Starks and you get a shot. So that's what, but in a way, Jade's like, okay, I'll do it, but I'm not doing it for you. So that's how it is. But of course, Mandy Rose was watching this in the commentary section, basically laser focused to see Jade to get rid of Starks. But at the moment when Cora Jade thought she had everything, she was looking for a stick, Roxanne comes out like something out of a nightmare, but it was Zoe Starks that won the match. But Roxanne now says, you got nowhere to hide. So basically, this is the possibility we can see Roxanne and Cora Jade face off one-on-one. Now, Zoe Starks is no idiot. She knew exactly that there was going to be a distraction in some way, but it made her have eyes in the back of her head, takes out Mandy Rose. But the obvious question is now, is Zoe Stark going to be the one to end the reign of Mandy Rose? Well, we'll see what happens at NXT Heatwave next week. So I hope everybody's excited. So set your clocks for that. Right now, let's move on with news updates. Okay, welcome to news updates right now. Now, I don't know if you guys have been hearing about something that took place of course, on Twitter. And this one is coming from none other than the Golden Star himself, Kota Ibushi. Now, we haven't heard anything from Ibushi from quite some time. As you know, he's been dealing with this little fallout that's been taking place with New Japan because some official wanted to fire him because he was trying to rush him to get back. However, today, Bushi posted out something interesting on his Twitter page. And this is what he said. It was later translated. I have high expectations for AEW. So I'll go 3 times. I can't promise the card will be assembled correctly, but lovers can. Looks like it that he may want to take a run at AEW. Now, this is something that has been talked before. Many people say, why did Kota Ibushi did this when Kenny Omega made the choice to leave? Well, he wasn't ready because he hasn't accomplished the next few goals. But now it feels like it's possible we could see Kota Ibushi making his return, making his way to AEW. But the last line, lovers can. Could this be the possibility that he, Kota Ibushi, and Kenny Omega reform the Golden Lovers? I have to say this is going to be great. It's been a couple of years since we saw the Golden Lovers. I can't wait to see it. But let's just wait and see what takes place. As you know, there's been talk that Kenny Omega may make his way back to AEW at All Out. So let's just wait and see what happens. Now, as you know, with WWE what's been going on, apparently WWE has uncovered more information with Vince McMahon's, unofficial record that has not been recorded. Turns out that another payout from 2007 and 2009 came out. Apparently, there was a $15 million payout for two different people in those years. So it is still unclear what was going on, but it says it's unrelated to the current allegations that have been going on. But they find out that this was done without filing. So basically, we don't know what else Vince was doing. So basically, there's more things that have been. This is unrelated to the allegations, but we'll find out what's going to take place. Now, our last update, as you know, I mentioned this before. Prestige Wrestling with their upcoming event on Halloween, Roseland 4, the Wake the Dead. We're going to see Dragon Gate's Yamato make his appearance. But however, it turns out he is not the only Dragon Gate wrestler making his way there. It's now announced SB Kento will also be going there too. I'm kind of excited to see the roster of Dragon Gate make their way to Prestige Wrestling. So guys got to stand by on that one as well. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we will continue with more of the G1. As you know, we got day 15, but also we got AEW Dynamite. I'm excited to see. This is, of course, we have Quake by the Lake. Some interesting matches will be taking place. I'm excited for all of it. But if there's any other events that I'm going to review, I will post them as soon as possible, and we'll see from there. But right now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.